All right, let's jump right in. Have you ever met someone and it just clicks? Like you're instantly on the same page. But then other times, it feels like you're trying to push a boulder uphill. Today, we're going to dig into the secret behind those amazing simpatico bonds. Let's get to it.
So, I've got a question for you. What's the real secret to a truly deep connection? I mean, it's something we all want, right? Those relationships that just feel easy, genuine. Well, the material we're looking at today has a really powerful answer. But there's a catch. It's a little risky.
Okay, so first things first, we need to talk about this idea of a simpatico connection. This is really the key to understanding that instant click we were just talking about. That feeling of, yep, this person gets me. So what is simpatico, really? I mean, it's more than just liking someone, right? It's this feeling of having shared qualities, shared interests. It leads to this mutual, agreeable vibe. You know the feeling. It's that sense of, hey, I get you. We are totally on the same wavelength. All right, so how do we make that happen? How do we build that bridge and fast-track a connection? Well, this next part dives into a method that's surprisingly effective, but you gotta handle it with care. Here's the core idea, and it's a big one. Sharing your past struggles can literally fast-track understanding between two people. Yeah, it's all about vulnerability. When you open up about something tough you've been through, you're basically giving someone a peek behind the curtain into who you really are. But, and this is super important, it's not a one-way street, not at all. The process kicks off with you sharing, sure, but step 2 is just as critical. The other person has to receive that story with real, genuine empathy. A true connection is only forged when both sides are holding up their end of the deal. So why does this work so well? Think about it. Our struggles, they stick with us, right? They shape who we become. They've got this emotional weight. So when we share one of those memories and someone really listens, we create this powerful new link with them, a link that's tied to a really significant part of our own story. Okay, but here's where it gets tricky, and it's a big but. Sharing these parts of ourselves isn't always safe. This whole strategy can be, as our source material calls it, a dicey conversation. Which brings us to the question we absolutely have to ask. What if it goes badly? What if you put yourself out there, you open up, and the other person just doesn't get it? Or worse, says completely the wrong thing. Because let's be real, the stakes here are super high. On one hand, you've got the reward, a stronger, deeper connection. Awesome. But on the other hand, there's the risk. A conversation gone wrong isn't just awkward. It can seriously damage the relationship you're trying to build. So, what's the secret sauce? What makes the difference between success and disaster? It all comes down to one thing: timing. You just can't dive into the deep end with someone you barely know. You have to pace this thing wisely. So how do you actually navigate this? The solution is pretty simple actually, but it does require some patience. The secret ingredient for making this kind of sharing feel safe is time. So when is it safe to share? Well, it's when you've already got a bit of a foundation, when you have some understanding of each other, when you get that gut feeling that says, yeah, this is okay. In other words, you need to have a strong enough relationship before you try this. This is a tool to strengthen a bond, not create one from scratch. And look, this whole journey of building trust, it's not instant. It's not a switch you flip. You have that initial meeting, sure, but then there's this really crucial period of just building trust. It could take weeks, it could take months. It's only after you've put in that time that you get to a place where sharing something deeper feels like a safe and even powerful next step. And that really brings us to the main takeaway here. You can't rush a real connection. Simple as that. Sharing your struggles might be the fast track, but time is what paves the road. It's the only thing that makes the journey safe and guarantees you'll actually get somewhere meaningful. Okay, let's pull all these threads together. There's a really great metaphor that just perfectly sums up this whole idea. I love this quote. A bridge is only useful when it connects, not when it stands alone. How perfect is that? It just captures the whole point of a relationship, right? It takes two sides, two people, for a connection to actually mean anything. And that's where it all comes together. See, sharing a struggle, that's you, building your side of the bridge. But for that bridge to actually be strong and hold any weight, it needs a solid foundation on both sides. And what are those foundations made of? Time and trust. So, I'll leave you with this to think about. As you go about your day, your week, think about the connections in your own life. Which bridge are you maybe building right now? And which one, maybe with a little more time and trust, is finally ready to connect all the way across?